Are we there yet? The words every father expects to hear, invariably, at every 10-minute interval. My 8-year-old daughter, Cynthia, would peel her face from the car window, ask me the same question, and delightfully I'd answer, "Almost, sweetie. We've been driving almost 2 hours," which should give you an idea of how much I had to put up with that. To drop Cynthia off at her mother's. Lisa and I have been divorced for about 3 years, and she still demanded to see Cynthia for a month, every Christmas. Now, Lisa wasn't exactly the Mother of the Year material, but hell, I know Angel like myself. I'm 37, I smoke, I'm a nasty penchant for cursing like a sailor, but damn it, I love Cynthia, and it kills me every time I drop her off in that dreaded month of December. Needless to say, I was in no hurry to get to Lisa's, and so this year I decided to take the old backwoods route. I'd figure it'd be a good chance to show Cynthia the beauty of nature, while squeezing out a little bit more time with her. I had to leave her for 4.5 weeks. She is so engrossed by passing the scenery that she would only ask periodically, "Daddy, what's that?" or "Are we there yet?" before replacing her little round face on the side of the passenger window. And I would indulge every question by exclaiming, "It's an old grain silo, sweetheart," or "Almost, dear." After a while I flicked on the radio for some quiet background noise, and began to slip into the quiet, meditative trance, induced by the long road driving. However, my calmness soon disturbed from a shriek from Cynthia. Slamming on the brakes instinctively, I brought the car to a lurching halt, and looked over at Cynthia. "What is it, Cynthia? What's wrong?" I was panicking. My mind raced with all the things that could go wrong. Heart attack, pulmonary edema, kidney failure, all outlanders saying Cynthia was perfectly healthy. But Cynthia kept staring out the window, transfixed on whatever was out there. As I looked past her small childlike head, I began to see and excited to smell a scream. It was an enormous white birch tree in the middle of a snowy field. Now, aside from the unusually large tree, birches don't usually grow much bigger than a foot in diameter. This one had to be at least 4 or 5. Something else struck me as odd about the leaves of the tree. It was a good distance into the field, about 30 yards. It was still looking behind from Cynthia's head, which was firmly placed against the window, but I could just barely make out the shape of the leaves themselves. It didn't register at first, but then after looking carefully, I realized that the leaves weren't leaves at all. They were shoes, hundreds of them, dangling from branches by the laces, every shape and size imaginable. I slowly opened the door and stepped out for a closer look. The sheer size of the tree was impressive, and the spread of the branches was unbelievable. By rough sizing up, I guessed there were about 600-700 pairs hanging all in all. Some were even the smallest branches. I began to walk around the front of the car, unable to take off my eyes of the bizarre spectacle. Then, without warning, I heard the other door open. Cynthia shot out towards the tree, giggling with childish laughter. Now, aside from the fact it was in the field, it was the middle of nowhere. It was also the dead of winter. So as Cynthia ran off towards the tree, wearing a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, my first reaction was to go get a coat. Lord knows she wouldn't put on a jacket even if it was 50 below. I turned around to grab her snow jacket from the car. When I turned back, the coat in hand, I yelled to Cynthia to wear it, but she was gone. My eyes searched the snow frantically for her, tracing her footsteps directly to the tree's base. "Cynthia!" I called out, heard a girlish giggle in response. "Cynthia, we don't have time to play games." I took a step towards the tree as the snow crunched underfoot. I heard her giggle again, unmistakable. "Cynthia, come here right this instant," I shouted, my voice becoming slightly more hoarse. To immense myself, she revealed herself, dashing out from behind the shoe tree. But there was something off about her. Suddenly I caught my... She was barefoot. "Fine, Daddy, I'm here. Do we have to go? The tree's so warm and nice." I grabbed her by the shoulder, shaking her small frame, nearly trembling from fear. "Cynthia, where are your shoes?" Nervously she answered. "The nice man told me to take 'em off." "Daddy, look, he gave me a pretty necklace." My heart sank to the pit of my stomach. Sure enough, around my daughter's neck was a small heart-shaped pendant. I clenched my jaw, grabbed the pendant, and snapped it off. "Daddy, what's wrong?" "Cynthia, I need you to go back to the car and stay there, now." "But, Daddy, my shoe..." "Now, Cynthia, get in the car, lock the doors, don't open for anyone until I tell you, okay?" "Okay, if you say so." Cynthia walked off nervously towards the car, throwing glances back at me over his shoulder. I watched every step she took until she finally got in, locked the doors, and I turned to confront this nice man. Whatever sick fuck set up this little sideshow attraction, I wasn't allowing him to go around luring kids in cheap necklaces just so he could get his rocks off. I followed Cynthia's tracks straight toward the tree until it loomed before me, larger than life. It was then I noticed something about the shoes. They were all children's shoes, not a single pair larger than a kid size 7. I shut and placed my hand on the tree for support. To my shock, it was a nice warm touch. I peeled back some papery bark to get a little bit closer look, and it might be causing the phenomenon, and was surprised to see what looked like initials carved in. Now, it wouldn't have been terribly unusual, if it were not the fact that right next to those initials were more, and even more. As I peeled back more thin bark, I discovered dozens of initials carved in, and hundreds. I took a step back and began to get an uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. The twisting, wrenching knot that forms when you know something's wrong. I glanced back up at the shoes. The knot tightened. I saw Cynthia's sneakers dangling there like tiny little cadavers, by their laces and trails. Thoroughly creeped the fuck out at this point. I turned and ran back to the car, my breath forming heavy clouds in the sharp, cold air. I grabbed my key and locked the driver's side of the door, got in, locked it behind me, and turned to Cynthia. "Are you okay, sweetie? Did anyone hurt you or touch you?" "No, Daddy, it's fine. Mr. Smiles is funny. He makes me laugh. He's got a funny face." That knot in my stomach tight, twisted, and squeezed. Something icy tendril of fear creeping up towards my heart. "Who's Mr. Smile, Cynthia?" Cynthia remained wordless. Her eyes slid to the back seat. My heart slowly froze, and as I slowly turned my gaze to follow hers, I lounged casually back there, one barely human. Bony talons crossed neatly together, produced from underneath the rotting flesh over the fingers. Its funny face, mass of decaying skin, stretched over its bleached skull, where the corner of its mouth slouched away, leaving only a sickling grimsicle potentially edged beneath its eyeless sockets. The grotesque smile widened, and I reached into the jaw and right at its side, grasping a tiny piece of candy between its fingers. "Can I have a piece of candy?" I said in frozen terror. Cynthia's hand reached out and snatched the candy from its clutches and began unwrapping it. The creature's eyeless gaze seemed to shift to meet my own horrified stare. its disgusting grin winding ever so tightly. I tried to scream, but uselessly. I found that I couldn't. Funny, I hadn't noticed the other hand wrapping around my neck and a creeping chill into my veins as its icy talons clutched my throat. Warm blood spilled from my chest, and my last breeze through my fleshy torn hole in my neck. Cynthia looked up at me, suckling innocently on a piece of candy. Her voice echoed as I sprawled down in darkness. "Daddy? What's wrong? Daddy? Daddy?"